I don't understand why the wrestling god is here talking to these two jamokes who don't even know a goddamn thing about wrestling, who've never been in a wrestling ring. That's what Jock Sampson would say.
I helped build a wrestling ring once. Does that count?
No, because I bet you it was a Hasbro or Mattel.
No, it's a little freaking one show off.
Yeah, it was plastic with the turnbuckles already on it with the little stretchy rope you put underneath the turnbuckles, and that's what made the ropes the ropes.
Brought like 20 chairs down there one trip.
So you went from saying you helped build a ring to now you help bring chairs down.
But everything. I helped build that set.
So now you went from help building a ring to bringing chairs and building a set. So now
I also
now
know
I think myself and our entire Shoot Your Shot podcast community is now thinking to yourself, Dustin didn't do any of these things. Welcome to the newest episode of Shoot Your Shot on the Ghost Named Grey podcast. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing the video. Last week's Shoot Your Shot was actually our highest rated. Even the To Be Named podcast didn't get 1.3 thousand views. So appreciate all the love and support. But if we could turn some of them views into subs and likes, it will help out us as well and give us some feedback on what we need to improve on in the future. With that all being said, ADDDD, we had ourselves a hell of a week. However, the show tonight didn't really seem too wild, if you ask me.
it was the typical filler show before a big event.
Well, I wouldn't even say technically a big event because the only difference from this week to next week is next week they're going to be filming or they'll be on Friday at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
which is going to be interesting on how the hell we're going to film that show.
probably Saturday night.
Probably. Chances are high.
Odds are I won't be watching that show until Saturday.
I will be watching it. That'll be what I will look forward to. However, the Dynamite tonight, and we are filming this literally right after Dynamite, felt like you said, it felt like a filler episode. It felt like if you honestly missed it, you didn't miss much. Realistically, what you were getting was a lot of planting of seeds as far as storylines are concerned.
Yeah.
We got that really nice Lance Archer promo that he came out with. But more importantly, you got Britsburg herself out there, basically curb stomping Hikaru Shida, just proving week in and week out that she literally is going to carry this women's division by herself. Because she is the best, in my opinion, the best female wrestler, and she just proved that again tonight, I think.
I mean, she has Rebel, not Reba. It's a good co-partner, no doubt.
I have to agree that as well. However, when the highlights of your show, in my opinion, are possibly, and the Young Bucks are even featured in a tag team match on the show, but honestly, as much as I love the Young Bucks, I didn't think that match was any great. It really, to me, didn't pop off. Now, however, the ending I thought was kind of cool with the little shenanigans of John Moxley and Eddie Kingston coming out and stealing the shoes. That was kind of funny. I enjoyed the knockout, taking out the shoes. It was kind of neat.
It was pretty.
Because we all know those shoes are worth $1,000. If you didn't take them, you're just stupid.
You're not wrong.
However, everything else on the card just felt very lackadaisical. Felt like you knew the match outcomes before they were happening. But the biggest takeaway, at least from the men's perspective, so we've shed a little bit of light on the women's perspective, is the general fact that Miro versus Lance Archer might be a hell of a match.
Oh, they're totally going to beat each other up at the paper. Out.
You got two. Those are two big ass dudes that are gonna be going slapping me.
I gotta be honest though, Jake Roberts, I think he's overstayed his welcome. He's kind of point, huh?
Well, the thing is you think you're bringing in Jake the Snake Roberts to be sort of a mouthpiece,
Uh-huh.
but he really doesn't say anything. He kind of just sits on the stage, and
He's just getting a paycheck basically.
which I can't blame the guy. I mean, at least he's doing more than he did in WWE. He's getting some screen time. He's getting some screen time, but realistically, he really isn't like helping out Lance Archer's character, and I think that was made inevitable whenever they had Sting go ahead and have that cut that promo when
Hmm.
Jake, why aren't you helping him? You know, this, that, and I believe we discussed that in our first podcast.
I do have something to bring up that's kind of interesting though. Sting wrestling in his first match, it's not gonna be somatical.
Which is kind of interesting because I think you and I both said that probably Sting's remaining matches are going to be cinematic matches because, you know, of the age factor and trying to make sure the guy can still go. Um, I, it's
I think I don't know. I think Scorpio and Ethan Page being kind of gives Sting a little less to worry about than
and
Brian.
he, and even the fact that you're bringing in Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page as well, would you think they'd be going over in this match just for some fact that one, Ethan Page is relatively new, two, this thing they're doing is relatively new, and
Yeah.
three, if Sting and Darby Allin do beat them, there's not really a whole lot that's going to do for both Sting and Darby Allin. It's just going to more so hurt Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page,
And
in my
honest
opinion.
and honestly, Sting should be there to put over the new talent. So
I think that was the whole reason why guys like him and a guy like I'm going to get to here in a second, Christian Cage, I believe that's what they're there for. Now, let's talk about Christian Cage because he was in a match at the beginning of Dynamite with Matt Seidel.
it wasn't good.
To start off a show, I was excited. I'm like, okay, I'm cool to see Christian go. I don't want to be that guy because I'm happy to see Christian back in wrestling,
Yeah, it's good to
but he's
see him,
not
but so
fun to
far
watch.
been lackluster. He came back. That actually debut was kind of lackluster too, in my opinion.
I have to agree. The way I thought about the debut was like, okay, a little bit of ring rust, get it. That's fine. The second match, yeah, he looked similar to the first match. Just didn't find anything really too entertaining. This
Yeah.
third match, I was because I always say third time's a charm. I don't think it was a charm this time, brother.
It's not, but he's still probably going to be the favorite to win that battle royal.
He probably is just because of all the direction that everything's been going. And I kind of I don't know how I kind of feel about this because I feel as if we are kind of being able to see what the show is going to be playing itself out to. And I like the wow factor of it. Like I like not knowing. There's been a couple times over the last few weeks where I feel like we kind of know, and I feel like they're making it very obvious on TV.
You're not wrong.
Um, so I'm hoping a little bit after Double or Nothing they kind of get that all back. And for the love of God, make it so less unpredictable. Because not that it's a bad show. I mean, tonight's show it wasn't by any means like a bad show. Like the guys had good matches. It just wasn't as entertaining as it was last week or the week before. It felt like too many promos because you had a promo from the Pinnacle, you got a promo from the Inner Circle, and all the good bits of the whole night were just promos. There really wasn't a match that stuck
Right.
out besides maybe the Serena Deeb match with Red Velvet. That was the only match to me that stuck out.
To me, that was the match of the night, no doubt. We We gotta take into fact that after Double or Nothing, they're gonna be touring again. They're gonna make shows bigger and bigger.
So you think what they're doing is kind of like a slow build, then building up to those, the shows are going to be going out on tours. Now
Oh
we're going
yeah,
to start being a little less unpredictable and it'll be a little bit more spontaneous and ridiculous.
yeah. I think starting with Double or Nothing, you're gonna see a change in what we've seen originally before the pandemic struck, because that was getting huge.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, the whole thing. It's not that it's this show has lost any steam.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tonight just felt like it was missing something. But I think honestly at the beginning of the podcast when you stated that it felt like a filler night because that's really kind of what it felt like.
It did.
Because it didn't put anyone really over. It didn't really bury anybody. Besides maybe Matt Sydal because he looked really bad against Kristen Cage, but it was a filler.
Yep, for sure.
So for the fans at home who want a general idea of what the show was this week, it was a filler show.
They just put a show on to put a show on, basically, because they had 2 hours to work with.
If I ever beat you up, I'd take your shoes.
If I ever beat you up, I'd take nothing.
You could beat me up.
I would just have the satisfaction of watching you lay there motionless.
You know what? I hope you do that and I get back up and then I still take your motherfucking shoes, bitch. that, that was funny. I hope next week that they actually come out with their Dior Nike or Jordans around their neck like they're
like the gangsters.
It would just be. I think it would be funny. It would be a good time. And I honestly think with the way Moxley sets himself up for like being like high quality gifts, he can definitely make that hilarious.
No,
I feel like there's some John Moxley faces that people need to make into gifts because the dude is honestly quite hilarious.
he's a badass. I think their team name is the Wild Things right now. Kind of odd. But
I'm not going to say I don't like it because I kind of think it's kind of cool, to be honest. Kind of goes with their flow.
They had the remix of the song tonight. That was different.
I'm fucking with it. I'll tell you that right now. I'm definitely fucking with it. Not, and it's kind of sad though because I do enjoy Eddie Kingston's original theme.
Mm-hmm.
However, I ain't gonna turn off a spinoff, dude. There's fucking kids on TikTok that are right now like taking old classical songs and mix them with like rap songs and they're making them cool. But I can't say I'm watching it because I refuse to get on TikTok. So don't be expecting to see the GNG on TikTok anytime soon. You might see the ADDD on TikTok. That's his domain. That ain't my domain.
Even on Twitter, you think I'm gonna get on TikTok?
I think you have a better chance of being on TikTok than you do on Twitter. But and other news, Dustin, we're 10 days away.
10 days away from the Washington Wild Things base brawl, whatever you want to call it.
IWC baseball at the Washington Wild Things Stadium in Washington, Pennsylvania. Make sure you guys are there. I believe tickets are around $20 a pop. I believe still social distance. I believe they're still asking everyone to do. However, I think they're kind of
The mask thing might not be enforced too much, but who knows?
Well, I mean, at this point, everyone should be already vaccinated, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So Dustin's got the card here. You got anything to look forward to as far as the card? Because I have not personally seen the card. I will have to go take a look at it.
I mean, we talked about a little last week. We have the RC Dupree match with Don Dom. Winner faces Andrew Palace for the title later in the night.
All right, I do know. All right, I take that back then, guys. I do know some of the card, but
Blade and Josh Alexander. That's the battle of the wrestling earmuffs.
I'm not including that. All right. I don't know what I don't know if this is in order or not.
Got your girl, the dime piece.
She looks good as fuck. All right, so during this whole baseball, we do got a lot of really good matches to go ahead and get announced. If you guys haven't got a chance to go check it out, do go on iwcwrestling.com. Also, you can get your tickets on iwcwrestling.com as well. Check out the main card. But what we have here, we got my man Johnny Patch and JC Carr. And for people who don't know, if you haven't looked at Johnny Patch's Twitter lately, the guy is a fucking machine. Like when I had him on the podcast, he probably ate two of him, and now his dude's like he's a whole cannon. So they're gonna be pairing up against the main event. We got Katie Arquette against Queen Amida
For the women's title.
That's gonna be quite interesting.
I think the Queen.
Is the Queen's gonna get the dub?
I do.
Ooh, we'll see what happens. I can't go against Katie Arquette. Big time Bill Collier versus Angelic. It's gonna be a good match because I think I even sat on the first baseball. I said I don't remember seeing or no, not baseball. It was at the last show before the virus. I even said to myself, I was like, this Angelic dude looks pretty good. He was what, formerly Gory?
Yeah, he was Gory beforehand.
I didn't fuck with Gory too much, but I like this guy a lot.
He's different.
But it's big time Bill Collier we're talking about here.
Bill Collier, in my opinion, will be champion until the next Super Indie tournament where he'll lose it and probably get a shot at full time in AEW.
I can definitely see it happening. Another man who should be and probably a part of the AEW roster, but got a little bit snubbed. He's going to be in a bull rope match. I'm talking about Jock Sampson as he faces off against Bulk Nasty. That's going to be quite an interesting duel. Two massive men going at it again for the second time.
Jock is one of the most entertaining heels I've ever watched. Gotta be.
Oh yes, I think the only person that can be just as entertaining as him is probably MJF.
Yeah.
And he goes at it. Also, shout out to him. He liked a couple of my posts out on there on Twitter. As much as remarked as that makes me sound, I do appreciate that. And then we do have the match that we talked about last week on the podcast with the Lebanon Dawn versus RC Dupree. Winner of that match will go ahead and face my man, the Tasmanian Devil, Andrew Palace, at a shot for the IWC Heavyweight Championship.
Mr.
that being my first time even taking a look at the card, this is going to be a hell of a show that you're going to be seeing on May 29th. Oh, I also forgot some more matches I've been seeing on here. You also got Money Shot and Anthony Young versus the Collimation. We'll be seeing my girl, the dime piece there. She's going to be looking fine as ever, more than likely.
We'll have to spray down. We'll have to bring a sweat towel for Greg so he doesn't drool too much.
I think I'll be good in the drooling. However, I will be hoping that Johnny Patch goes down there and beats the shit out of Elijah Dean so I can just sneak it in and be like, man, the man looks a little beat up. Johnny Patch like the ultimate wingman. Dude, he definitely did it. Or he'll steal the girl. That's even fine by me. As well as you got TNA's X Division champion, Josh Alexander, going up against Spencer Slade. That's going to be a good match. And then what did you say it was called?
Battle of the Wrestling Earmuffs.
The Battle of the Wrestling Earmuffs. One's doing it because if he doesn't, he could possibly not wrestle again. And Spencer Slade, I don't know if he has an exact reason for doing that. However, I'm not going to judge them. All I know is those guys are going to fucking hit each other hard. It is definitely going to lead for a really interesting match because you got some guy who just, was helping on AEW and being shown off to like the world. And then you also have a gentleman who came up in the IWC, did a lot in the IWC, went off to be a part of the North in TNA.
Yep.
Now he's, the X Division champion in TNA wrestling. And now he's coming over back to IWC, coming, in my opinion, coming home. And he's going against Spencer Slade to see who's going to, see what this young kid's all about, really.
I think I'll put him over, honestly.
I think he may, but at the same time, it's going to make it very hard for Spencer Slade. Because if we both know Josh Alexander, like I think we do, the dude hits hard. He is mean.
Look what he did to Wardlow.
Look what happened. What about Josh Woods? What happened to Josh Woods?
He got hit in the head with a steel.
R.I.P. Josh Woods. We put a hit on him. Next week, my man Silas takes him out. I think Silas also remembers us because I feel like he did that as a personal gift to us from all the times that we used to always shit talk him.
Uncle Silas.
Bro. What was that?
Uncle Silas gave us a favor.
Uncle Silas. That is exactly what I received as a text message when I saw Josh Wood down like the peasant that he is.
Hey.
Uncle Silas sends his regards. And you know what? I honestly couldn't have been more happier because I like that we were talking about that last week on the podcast of how much I don't like him. And Uncle Silas said, "Hey, let me put him in a coffin for you."
Yes, sir.
So shout out Silas.
I don't
know why I can't remember his first name right now.
He is Silas.
What's his last name then?
Silas
Young. Shout out Silas Young. I appreciate you. I'm still a fan of you. I love your work. What a fucking dude. I'd love to get him on the podcast. That would be someone interesting to get on the podcast. Because he would be such a wild card. We don't know if he's even going to answer an exact question. He'll just probably fucking just cut a promo on us and then just fucking end the call.
He'll probably stare at us the whole time and, just end the call.
That's like if we had Jock Sampson on the call, he would probably do the same thing. He'd be like, I don't understand why the wrestling god is here talking to these two jamokes who don't even know a goddamn thing about wrestling, who've never been in a wrestling ring. That's what Jock Sampson would say.
I helped build a wrestling ring once. Does that count?
No, because I bet you it was a Hasbro or Mattel.
No, it was a little freaking one show.
Yeah, it was plastic with the turnbuckles already on it with the little stretchy rope you put underneath the turnbuckles, and that's what made the ropes the ropes.
Brought like 20 chairs down there one trip.
So you went from saying you helped building a ring to now you help bring chairs down.
Everything. I helped build that set.
So now you went from help building a ring to bringing chairs and building a set. So now I think myself and our entire Shoot Your Shot podcast community is now thinking to yourself, Dustin didn't do any of these things.
Hey, I knocked the wind out of one of the wrestlers with the steel beams we brought in. I remember that one. This was also like 13 years ago. You should probably cut all this out because I'm pretty bored with it.
Well, I'm not going to do that because I think what you're referring to is the time you and Richard Taylor were sitting around playing wrestlers down the basement and you kind of slipped them right in his Adam's apple, and that's where we're at here. I think you're just trying to make a bigger story out of a small story.
What happened in Florida, bro?
Yeah. And my mom goes to college. Anyways, that's about the most of what we're gonna probably get out of wrestling going this week. We will have more news, maybe hopefully talk more about maybe a little bit more of the IWC matches next week, depending on how the show goes next week as far as AEW. NXT just went ahead and released some new people. If you saw that, we'll get more into that once I get more information on that story. We'll get more of that sometime next week as well. American Daydreamer Dustin, what you got for him? Anything to say less? Or
I mean, there's not much left to say. It was just a filler week. We didn't have a lot of information to talk about. We'll have more next week for you.
Into a lot of the stuff going on May 29th about the IWC base brawl, which I'm still super stoked for. I can't wait for everyone to see Johnny Patch and how jacked he is. Like, I don't think you understand like how jacked this dude is. My man Johnny Patch may murder somebody on accident, of course, and it's allegedly.
You're not wrong.
Also, he's got merch for me. I got to pick up.
He's got merch for you?
Dude, he told me he was selling merch at Pike Days, and I was like, yo, you better have a shirt for me. I didn't know you had any merch.
He has a merch? What the
I'm a fan, so if you don't buy merch, you're just not a fan of Johnny Patch. You're just kind of a scumbag. He's a fan of the program.
He's a fan of the program.
Nick Lendl, if he had merch, I'd buy it all.
Do you know who his tag team partner personally knows, though?
Who's that?
That Jace Carr? He personally knows Dan.
Let's not. We're gonna. How the fuck am I gonna cut that out of this? I gotta keep that in. That's too funny. If you would have told me that we were bringing Dan up in the podcast today,
the list of Mueller, check it off, man.
That's the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I have no energy left. I think Dan just took it out of me, and he's not even here.
He takes energy,
just make sure you do not come across this man in the wild. And if you do, what's that thing they do in the BT now when they do the run skit? That's what you need to be doing anytime you see this man run.
Yeah, we can make Dan our personal Brandon Cutler, I think he'd be up for it.
I think he'd be a good stat checker, but he'll also keep a calendar of every time he makes a stat to make sure he doesn't make the same stat twice in 1 week. With that being said, guys, I am the Ghost Named Greg. Catch me out on Twitter at the Ghost Named Greg, and also check out the Twitch channel that will be live when this airs at 9 p.m. Eastern. Twitch.tv/the Ghost Named Greg, and don't forget it because I'll be there. I think I'm gonna be playing Days Gone. I've been addicted playing it on my PC. I might have to restart the whole game I'm playing for the stream because I decided to just go balls to the wall on it. So, ADDD, tell them what you're doing with your life these days.
I'm working, hanging out with this fool, the Ghost. We go to wrestling events, we talk wrestling. That's about it.
I am the Ghost with the most. This is the Ghost Named Greg channel. We are the Shoot Your Shot podcast. Make sure you do like and subscribe.
If you really want to, subscribe and like.
It's free. You can do it.
Just do it.
Don't be like Dan.
Be like Mike.
Goodbye, everyone.